most of you I know. I'm hoping that will be the case down the road when that's not true, right? A lot of new people come. So I'm part of a group called Envision Taneytown, and we've been sponsoring these talks for a couple of years now, every month. And so the last 3 have really been around more directly related to community building. We're looking at issues around Main Street and design, livability, and rejuvenation of Main Street. Last month was Julie Delamarie from Sykesville Downtown Connection, also sort of addressing that theme of what she feels important, and I think she's even setting the program up where she can do a mentoring relationship with the town in some way, I think, so to help us along with that. And tonight is a continuation of that with Stephen Strosnider from the Carroll County Arts Council, just looking specifically at community building through arts development. And I think one thing that Envision Taneytown is trying to do is to look at this really broad picture of community development and what are the foundations for building community, not just looking at a really narrow-minded thing and we have to have this economic development plan. That's important, but it's really a relationally based attempt at looking at how you relate employers and large businesses with the town, how you relate arts programs with the town, and where there's opportunities to build these relationships across the board. That's really the focus of investment, is starting at that level. So we're trying to support that, and both in these talks and also in projects we have going in the town to look at these opportunities. And Mary and I were talking before, she's created an initiative with a group of artists on December 6th at Deja Vu, just to start with this, bringing people together and starting this other aspect of community building through art and getting people together that way. So I think ironically that Envision Taneytown does not have, I want to say a huge vision, but almost seeing what needs to be done in a really simple way and trying to look at a strategy where you take the least amount of energy for the biggest result. And that could be something as simple as a community garden with a business in town, working with Brian Safe Haven, to the library program we started in terms of downtown mini children's library trail, just seeing what can be done and trying to do that in a simple way that we can. So that's probably enough of that. And we need volunteers like most people do in most organizations. I hope what's different for us is not just about signing up for some, having to sign postcards, but what we encourage is where your own passion and creativity are, that you bring that to the town and to initiate these kind of projects. So we have things we're trying to get done, but I'm more interested in what you would bring to the table in that way and then try to find a good fit. So if you have ideas from tonight that Stephen might present, or things you've seen in the town for a long time, you've been having the dinner room conversation about with your family and going, if only, please, talk to Bob, the Economic Development Coordinator, if it's appropriate there, and Community Development person in town, or myself, or just do it yourself. Don't wait for anything else to happen in that way, okay? So, I'm not going to do a huge introduction. I think Steve and I just had a good conversation for a few minutes, and I think what stands out for me is that one is, again, this commitment to looking at the arts in the context of community development, which I think Stephen's on that page as the director of the Arts Council, and also I think what strikes me is having to wear a bunch of different hats, because it's a practical part of staff management, but also having to look at programming issues, but also this really big picture of how the arts fit into a community development plan. And I think from his background, he can say more about that he brings that kind of balance of both living in New Windsor, having a family here, so seeing the town and sort of growth and vision from that perspective, but as well as the practical part of how you organize all these different pieces. So He's been with the Arts Council as an assistant executive director since 2022.
Yep.
And then in 2024 took on the directorship role. So I think other than that, I want to talk to you sometime about your civil engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a civil engineering degree, so I don't know that about him, but there's a whole nother component and vision from that perspective that he also brings to the table. So please welcome Stephen, and again, we'll have time for questions at the end. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It sounds very glamorous. So when I was at, I taught at Glenelg Country School for a number of years,
Right.
and they wanted to start a civil engineering and architecture program. And I was their technical director in the theater department. So I was building sets, teaching shop class, and said, well, you do building things, why don't we train you? And they sent me on a 4-day intensive to learn the entire curriculum for civil engineering and architecture, and said, great, go teach it. And I said, you know what? Okay, great, that's it. So thank you very much for having me tonight. It's a pleasure to be here. It was great to be at last month's. It gave me, I was very happy that I was able to come to last month's. It gave me an idea of how the evening can run, and I taught for about 10 years, and so I want to try not to teach or lecture anything, but more help as a mentor and prompt conversation and discussion is really my goal. And not to say that the Arts Council does anything the best way or the only way, but my hope is that we can have some good dialogue tonight. I can show you examples of how the Arts Council has done things in the past, how we're doing things now, and how we're hoping to do things in the future. So the first thing, we have a great team at the Arts Council, so I just like reading off some names. So a lot of folks go like, wait a second, Frank Baylor's on the board of the Arts? So this is our great staff here. Jennifer, who's our marketing coordinator, loves taking the picture so that she doesn't have to be in the picture. We all know those friends. So we have a special events and fundraising coordinator, an administrative assistant, a financial coordinator, visual arts and education coordinator, and a programming assistant, plus our full-time marketing and communications, and then myself as executive director. So we have just got a full team back together. It's been about 5 years since the Arts Council has not had what we consider a fully staffed operation. So it's very exciting to have that. Gail Slater is our president. She works for development for Target. Kimberly Schultz is our vice president, and works with the state with adults with disabilities and with accessibility. Rob Peebles, retired. He was the operations manager for the Mississippi State Arts Museum. Great to have on board. Lisa Tantala, retired but expansive in IT. Jan Flora, she was the director of aging and development for the county as well. Then we have a great team on our board. Mayor Mona Becker is on our board as well. She's our city liaison, our City of Westminster liaison. Bob Hicks, who's the director of Rec and Park for the county, is also our then county liaison. So we have a really great team, and that's sort of what I put a lot of weight on for us as an organization, is that we have a really great team. And I have a ton of people that I can go to and ask questions of. Denise Beaver, right? Denise Beaver is just the name here. She's the director of economic development for the county. So she's an amazing tool for us to be able to reach out to and get connections with. So starting with a great team is very important. All right, how creativity drives community. So why this conversation matters. I'm so appreciative that you guys want to have this conversation. I love Taneytown. We grew up in Detour, went to school at Francis Scott Key. My wife teaches at Northwest Middle. My kids are at Kim's dance studio. I just honked at them as I was coming here because they were leaving. So this means a lot to me, and I'm glad that this conversation means a lot to you guys. So art and creativity are quality of life engines. And what I mean by that is they are what are shaping the development of emotion, of connection. A lot of folks' identity goes back to arts and culture. It goes, and creativity. When you think of someone's like rich heritage, that's their identity. That's what puts roots down for them. not the policies, not the rules of law, but their heritage, their connections with the community. And when we understand our community clearly, we can serve them effectively. That's going to be the conversation that I want to have with you guys tonight. So the Arts Council just recently, within the last year, we did a brand audit. And so I highly recommend that for any organization or for Envision Westminster to understand who are we serving today and how that conflicts or promotes who we want to actually be reaching. And then we reviewed past plans, actions, and outcomes, because those are those real steps. We have dreams, so we plan them. We have actual actions of how they are done, and then we have to look at the outcomes. And that outcome piece has not always been a big component for ours. So we're having to dig up and look at that research. And of course, not to blame, but to learn and to inform. Without that bipartisan look at the past of how we got there, inheriting an organization or inheriting other past decisions, either by elected officials or by past community organizations, you have to look at what was done in the past. Was it successful? Was it not? And if it was a successful product, but how they got there you feel wasn't quite right, then that's worth conversation with your smart people you brought onto your team. All right, so the question I'm going to ask you guys, what counts as art and creativity? So we'll warm our crowd up here a little bit. So you shout out, what for you, what counts as art and creativity? When we're having this conversation, what comes to mind for you?
My first answer is everything.
Right.
I mean, music,
Great.
in terms of official things for kids, programs.
Yeah.
Um,
Great. Again, I'm stepping out of teacher mode, so I'm not looking for a direct answer that is going to be on the test or quiz. It's really just a question for you, thinking internally for you, what is, when you think of what art is and what creativity brings?
Yeah, I push that the art end of the question is something that you see some kind of aesthetic
Mm-hmm.
that took some effort to actually develop the skill to create the thing,
Right.
and that it's something that draws people. You know?
Absolutely.
And then the creativity end, I'll tell you that from a database engineering perspective, it used to be that everybody would look at Susie and go, oh, you must be the creative one because our girls are creative,
Mhm.
right? And I laughed at that because
I'm turning wood.
From my perspective, as a database engineer, that I've designed and built all three layers
Mm-hmm.
of solutions, including user interfaces, that no one ever wanted documentation because it worked the way they thought.
Right.
It's like, if that's not creativity,
Absolutely.
you know, then how do you define that? So creativity goes way beyond just art,
Mm-hmm.
but they need the art, the younger ages, so they learn to be creative in the engineering and everything else.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think there's also art for the tangible sake of art. So if
Yep.
you look at City Hall, all right, there's a mural, a replicated mural
Mhm.
that was an advertisement that everybody who's from here recognize it. Okay,
Mhm.
people who aren't from here can look at it and say, oh, that must be like something old. There must be some significance to it. Okay, but nevertheless, it's still important. Okay,
Mhm.
but then there is the art for the sake of thought.
Yeah.
All right, that abstract thing that is sitting there could be steel, it could be wood, it could be whatever, and people look at it and their interpretations are all different,
Mhm.
but it makes them stop and have pause
Mhm.
and think about it. All right, it may not be significant to driving business or whatever,
Yep.
but it's still significant for the sake of it makes people stop and pause.
Yep.
So it's
Absolutely.
art for being art.
Yeah. Anything else? Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm one of those that are not very artistically creative naturally.
Uh-huh.
But I sure love the hell out of art and admire it, especially antique art, old architecture.
Mhm.
You know, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
And so from a different perspective, you know, I'm an admirer of what others can create.
Mhm.
Using your imagination
Absolutely.
with no rules that
Yeah.
say you have to do this like this.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
I think it's well, sort of lumped together. I think like creativity is seeing possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Possibility that maybe others don't see or you didn't see. And the art of it is the bringing that to fruition in some way. So it could be many different ways, like many
Mhm.
things can be done artfully.
Or
you know,
aesthetically, or right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you all very much. Like I said, I'm not giving a right or wrong answer, but hopefully got some juices flowing. I think what I'm thankfully for giving you the right answers here, because what's on the slide, it's not a magic trick. Art is communication. Either it is, you see something and it resonates with you, you're seeing something and it evokes an emotion, you're seeing something, even if it's utilitarian, you go, that building is, man, those bricks in and of themselves are not beautiful, but what they created communicates to me, right? That data could be 100 different ways, but the choice is choosing the best way that it's going to resonate, communicate, or evoke to your audience. So communication is the biggest part when we're talking about art, because who do you want to communicate with? These are the questions we're going to have. Well, get to them in a second here. Something I've learned while working at the Arts Council, a big thing of community connection is not proximity alone. That a group of people together doing a wine and paint night does not simply check the box of art and creativity. We need more community connection. Just get them in the room and get some crafts going, and there we go, it's checked, done. What it needs is folks to discover, feel, and recognize the communications piece, but what are they doing? It's shared amongst themselves, or it's shared among the community. There's humanity in it, there's inspiration in it, there's experience that's going on. So when you're having a shared experience, you're discovering something that's a shared piece of humanity. We have a lot of folks that come into the Arts Council and they stand in our galleries and it's just a single person. And I go, they're having a great time communicating. It's a lone person, but you can see when folks feel instantly connected just to the artists that are in the room, to themselves. Those are good days. When folks just come up to the box office window and they go, thank you. I needed to get out during my lunch break. Thank you. And that's enough. Great. There was a shared experience for that single person. So it's not always about quantity of people that make a community connection. Also, they need to feel that shared inspiration. Universal experiences are one of the greatest things that bind us together. When we were talking earlier about the historicness of a building and why something should be saved or not saved. If you don't have a connection to that building that's always been on Main Street and someone says, knock it down, you go, yeah, great, knock it down. Or if it's getting restored and that person's like, why are you spending my tax dollars to restore that building? If there isn't ownership of it, if there isn't a feeling of shared inspiration by that thing, then how are you going to have anyone connect to it in your community? And then recognizing those shared experiences, and that's about connecting. That is about creating those experiences. And when you can create a program that's not just shared, we do a lot of shared things. 4-H fairs, there's masses of people that are at events, but when you as an organization help them recognize, just remember, you're with 1,000 people, you're like, holy crap, I am, aren't I? This is crazy, We try to do that at the Peep Show. When we're like, hey, heads up, these are all human artists. Hey, kids, look, there's other kids. Trying to have eyes up to recognize that there's a shared experience helps build that connection. It's not proximity alone. So the questions I ask you guys as a community, as Taneytown, who are you trying to reach? Who are you reaching right now? That's a big question. When you're thinking of putting on programming, the folks that are in this room, what is Envision Taneytown doing? What are your organizations doing? What's the town council trying to do? Who are they reaching right now? Who do you want to reach? When you, in your heart of hearts, I love that phrase you said, your dinner conversations, and you're like, man, what we gotta do. And then who do you actually need to reach? It's a really tough question. Who in Taneytown needs community connection? It's great to have rich donors and the elites and the public officials. We want to reach them. They are the donors. They have the money. We also can say, well, we really want to reach the folks who are in need. But do the folks in need want to be reached? How do you create that connection? And also, who do you need to reach the folks you want to need? Right? We don't have to answer these questions now, but these were conversations we had to stop at the Arts Council and go, why are we producing so much stuff? Who's it for? Once we find out who we're actually reaching, who's opening our emails, who's liking all of our Facebook posts, that community that's built, let's get them involved first, then invite them in. That's the biggest thing. Inviting people in, welcoming them in. Because if you don't do it, they don't know. Building does not build, don't replace. How do you start? I feel like there's a lot of energy for Taneytown to start doing. It is time to, shoot from the hip here. Let's get some programs going. We want to have a connected community. What my recommendation is that we've seen at the Arts Council, who is already doing the work you want to be doing? Support them first. The idea that, it costs nothing for a candle to light another candle, but what you gain is a room that's twice as bright. So, if your organization does not have the money to do big arts projects, is there anyone in the county who's doing something you like to do? How do you work with them? How do you build that collaboration? Then, once you're supporting them, they'll support you. They'll bring their community with you. And if you're able to repeat that, they're going to bring funding in or ideas that you hadn't even thought of, or they may redefine your who needs help. Because unless you're out with the people who want some help, you have a chance to ask them. Support brings support, and collaboration is the multiplier that small towns thrive on. Not individuals, collaboration. I'm thinking of the pop-up shop you're going to do next week. Our art in the park, right? A grand giant pop-up. That art in the park, we usually get 70 some vendors. Each one of those vendors, we take the time and we make sure, do you have all the social media things? All of your folks, here's a business card that says you're doing art in the park. Make sure your population comes, and treating each individual as a partner, because their reach is going to be far greater than our reach is going to do. And the people that want to buy their stuff know them. And all of a sudden they're going to support, realize there's 71 other vendors that have really cool stuff too, and it grows that population. So instead of feeling like you have to build from scratch, taking a look out there and going, okay, great, who's already doing it, how can we support them? So that brings us to the Arts Council itself. Hopefully this is not new for folks, but we updated our mission 3 years ago. The Arts Council strengthens and enriches Carroll County culturally and economically by promoting arts education, and diverse cultural expression. Through innovative programming, community collaboration, and active facilitation, we are striving to integrate the arts into the everyday lives of the community. So, what is our vision when we think of the Arts Council? When we think of what people say about us, they go, man, that Arts Council, they are a vital community resource. They are promoting the equal opportunity for everyone to pursue, enjoy, and understand the arts. That's our vision for Carroll County. And this is new for us. Like I said in the beginning, the Arts Council is not perfect. We're going through our own transition right now to grow. The vision of the Arts Council of the past has been a little bit more transactional, I'm going to talk about later. And I tend to be a lot more civic-minded for our folks, impact-minded. And that's a shift for our long-standing members. That's a shift for some of our artists. If we are, in fact, the Arts Council for Carroll County, we got a lot of work to do to make sure all artists in Carroll County are being represented. So losing the us about it and making the them about it. So it's just some numbers, fiscal year 25 at a glance. We hosted 135 unique events in fiscal year 25. We utilized 154 volunteers over the years, and we contract with over 770 artists throughout a single year. Those are our designers, those are musicians on stage, those are teaching instructors, those are artists. Lots and lots of artists. So these are the numbers these are the numbers we're always trying to see grow. What we've learned in the past 2 years, we were in the 180s events, close to 200 events a year. There's only 365 days in a year, and we only have one space. And so the reason we're having this brand audit in this conversation is trying to balance out, we can't rob our neighbors. We have great classical music. We have Masterworks Carol singers. We have chamber music on the hill. We have Sunday night jazz bands. There's a lot of music in Carroll County. So we had to look at our events and go, do we need to have music as much as we did in the past? Or can we be a better supporter of someone who's already doing it? Can we like their Facebook posts and share their stuff? I mean, like, look, we are promoting the arts in Carroll County, not ourselves. And then that has built us a bigger community. I love this number. The Arts Council is estimated to facilitate $277,000 on behalf of artists and organizations. So what does this mean? This is artist commissions for our exhibits, galleries, and gift shops. These are folks who rent our space, their ticket sales. This is our restricted funding, which is grants and scholarships. So over $270,000 comes to us, we process it and give it right back out. So we are just under $1 million operating budget for the Arts Council, and this big piece is not ours. It's on our books, it gets us up that number, but we're very proud to have the resources to be the vital community resource that our artists trust in us to hang their pieces here, have their work in the gift shop, that we will be able to spread the love for art in the community, get that funding, and feed it right back out to the artists, to schools, and to organizations. Last year we had a little over 12,300 live audience members in the theater, and total attendance across all of our programming is 32,000, and yes, that includes the Peep Show.
Which is 31,000.
That's right. So we're very excited. This upcoming year will be the 19th anniversary. So naturally, we are planning a very big 20th anniversary for the Peep Show. We're looking at some spaces, some blow it out of the water. We're sort of committing to, you know what, the Peep Show is not going away. I think we just need to go, you know what, we're the Peep Show people, and it needs to become an East Coast phenomenon. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's do it. I mean, it already brings over 20,000 people in 11 days. Jeez. What? Obviously, that's the largest economic fundraiser for the Arts Council. We only do 2 fundraisers a year: Festival of Reeds, that's about to open, and the Peep Show.
Go Peep.
Yeah, go Peeps. We offered 27 grants last year at about $70,000. That's grants, not scholarships. Of course, one of them was music in the market for Taneytown,
Nice job,
which was
Jim.
awesome. And you can see a lot of organizations. You'll recognize them. Carroll Community College. We provide grants to Carroll Community College. We are providing grants to the Carroll County Public Library. That should give you an indication of how arts, culture, and the humanities are being funded within even our colleges, our institutions inside the county. So we're actually looking to really hike this number up for next year as we're trying to drive that economic impact piece. One of the greatest things, our Tevis High School Scholarship. So this is one, and the reason I bring it up in thinking about Envision Taneytown, it took the growth of the Arts Council and the impact they were doing in the 70s and 80s for Dorothy Tevis to see that work, and provide essentially a perpetual donation. And so over the course of us having the Tevis Scholarship, we have awarded $145,000 to 201 students to 100 unique universities for if they are pursuing a degree in the arts. And so that is a student from every high school in the county every year. It's a $1,000 scholarship. So we award $7,000 a year. And we're trying to make it more competitive. We would love to boost it up. It's one of those things where we became too transactional over time. We kind of rested on the donation laurels and went, I bet you if more of the community knew we were doing this, folks would donate directly to that. If folks knew we had a Tom Holder scholarship where kids could essentially take our classes for free, I bet you they would donate to it. If we only say, hey, we got a great concert, come see it, okay, great, I'll buy that concert and then I'll see you later. And that's what it had slowly become a little bit. And so that's kind of the takeaway that we'll talk with you guys about, is being wary of an event for an event's sake, right? Community connection is not just proximity alone. Here are some of our partners. These are folks that we are in direct partnership with in terms of events happening, or we are in-kind donating them spaces at the Arts Council. They are business partners of ours, so a lot of familiar faces I'm sure you'll see, but then we really try to work with, like for folks like Action for Kindness, which I'll show you in a second. We host their Be Kind sign auction that they do throughout Westminster. And that's one thing, looking at this, that's interesting for us. Our building, the Carroll Arts Center, is of course owned by the city. We are renters for $1 a year to the city. But some of our funding comes from the county. And so we have a very close connection with county recreation and parks. And so we have this duality of being a partner with the city, thank you for the building, but then thank you commissioners for letting us do this. Thank you to our members and donors for letting us do this. So we allow ourselves to be, we have to allow ourselves to kind of be pulled in a lot of directions with that gratitude and that support system. Because again, each one of these have their own worlds that don't know about the Arts Council. And so we have to nurture them and have to support them. All right, so what is ahead? This is where we are right now, and hopefully this kind of helps trigger some questions for you guys as you're thinking. I was saying earlier, it's sometimes, it's really hard you can't come up with a fundraising plan unless you know what you're fundraising for. You can't come up with a capital campaign strategy or have it under the gun, like, man, we gotta get some money, because no one's gonna give you money unless they know what you're using it for. So for us, our strategic plan goals, we've broken it down this fiscal year. Our goal is to strengthen internal capacity, our external relationships, program effectiveness, and participation. That's a pretty big chunk of things we're trying to take on right now. But notice it's not create a whole bunch of brand new programs. Don't bring in a bunch of cultural folks and hope people attend it. Have a lot of obscure cultural offerings and hope that someone attends it. We've tried it. And unless we're asking folks, what do you want to come see? Great, we'll have that. That's right? We can't have the crown of curating because we've seen it happen at 185 events. We're exhausting our folks, even if they wanted to come, even if they thought it was cool. Like, I was just there yesterday. Yeah.
So from a strategic planning standpoint,
Mm-hmm.
would you have identified these as weaknesses at one point that obviously you wanted to strengthen and turn them into
Yes.
strengths?
I think because you're asking it that way, the answer is you're right. Yes. There are weaknesses in our internal capacities. Yes. There were weaknesses in how we were developing, curating the life cycle of our external relationships was, again, I'm going to use it in a second, so transactional.
Yeah, and the reason I brought that up is I can see those as weaknesses in a lot of organizations, like in museums, for example, in main streets. You know, those are the challenges that I think we all face.
Yeah, and again, I'll go back to build on, or not having to build from scratch, but build on. So these aren't, and so you could join our committee. I could give you all the dirty details. These aren't burn them to the ground and reconstruct our internal capacities. Simply, let's look at them and strengthen them. What do we want to consciously strengthen? What do we want to be able to fall to the cutting room floor? So this new lens for us, because we're in it, we're right now in this new shift. I have almost an entirely brand new team under me, which is fantastic, but we're figuring it out. We're redeveloping what it means for us to be the county's Arts Council. So this is the new lens for our decision making. We provide space, we provide resources, and we provide opportunity. When we think of ourselves as a vital community resource, this is what we have. We are stewards of our building, we are stewards of our technology, of our supplies folks donate to us, and our opportunity, that's our time, our staff time. Because we want people of all ages, interests, and abilities. This is big for us. All ages. We're about to have a kindergarten make it and take it class next month. And it's the first one. We're gonna have some tiny kids in that building. But folks asked, they're like, how young do you go? I'm gonna go 6. And they go, oh. And we go, okay. I mean, that's it.
Younger.
Right? Like, yes. So we went, okay. So we found someone who teaches young kids and we said, all right, let's try it. And it's already got people. So, all interests. This one's very big for us. We're trying to work with arts in our name. Most folks think fine art. And they go, what am I supposed to do with a gallery? That's not my thing. We need to leave the art is only for artists, whereas art, of course, is for everyone. So we're trying to find programming that opens up to more interests. And of course, abilities. This is huge for us. We just started a brand new program at 10 o'clock in the morning. So if you need public transit, if you have an aid, if you need to take if your organization has a bus or transportation, it's that perfect time where you might go to the ARC or to Target. You might go to your senior center and catch the Trailblazer and be able to get to us by 10. All of the programming is free to attend. You don't need any reservation. You can just walk in. And it's an event where we keep the house lights on. They are sensory activities. It's an understanding that, you know what, if the person next to you wants to participate louder than the person on stage, it's okay. That's what this event is all about. And for us, it is, again, that everyone needs art, right? We say art's for everyone, and we're trying to commit that everyone really does mean everyone. And connect, be inspired, and be creative throughout the county. So I keep saying impact over transaction. That is what we're choosing now. And so this is sort of, I'll give you don't have to waste years to figure it out. I highly recommend, as you're thinking of development, Main Street development, as you're thinking about creating programming, how you talk about it, why you're doing it, it has to have impact to it. It cannot be transactional, because transactional doesn't mean anything to anyone. It does not create community. So for us, our impact, what we're saying, your impact equals community impact. Of course, we're still going to have concerts. We're going to have Charlie Brown Jazz and Teelan and Rocky Horror, right? Those in themselves are cultural experiences. You're going to gain something out of it, but I want you to know that when you come to the Arts Council, you know that by supporting that concert, you're getting something out of it, but you know that you're also providing a scholarship to a kid. You know that the things we're doing are impactful to the community. That's why it's worth donating. That's why it's worth engaging with the Arts Council. So for us, this is sort of our metric here. Year-round, we are creating events, entertainment, gallery exhibitions, classes, camps, workshops, special events, for all ages, interests, and abilities, but we're also, as the county, making sure we're using our local and regional artists. But then too, what is our responsibility for the folks of Carroll County who don't want to go out of Carroll County? How do we bring them national and international experiences as well? So I was describing our Together in the Art series. That's been wildly successful, which is great to know. It was a step in the right direction for us. That was that 10 o'clock free. The first one we had about 70 people there, and it was retirees, moms of homeschool kids. We had Target, ARC, Bella McCree, barrier-free clients. We had folks that drove themselves, folks that had aides. We had a school bus show up, and we're like, I don't know who this is, but great, the school bus just showed up. And then our Schools Out Arts In program. So this is on days that Carroll County Public Schools are closed. We want to provide a entertaining experience that a parent can take their kid to, that they have something to do on that day. It's not a holiday, so the parent probably took off of work, or they're with a grandparent because both parents are working. Can we get, the libraries are amazing. We do not want to compete with story time in the libraries, but we want to be able to provide an additional free offering. Come hear a concert. It's a school day. Grandparents, get yourself out of the house. Our hope is that this is going to become also like a summer camp where a parent could potentially drop their student off 9 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. They'll get a workshop. They'll get a free concert. They get lunch. They get some one-on-one time in the afternoon with that artist. Parent can pick them up at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Then you're not having to utilize grandma. You're not having to use a neighbor. You're not having to pay for childcare. You're not having to take off of work and lose that money. You're going to have a cultural experience for your kid. It's going to be fun. It's going to be right in the middle of Carroll County, so everyone can come to it. That's our hope for next year, to be able to utilize that. We have our Tom Holder Memorial Scholarship, so kids can take classes for partial price or free. We have our Glenn and Barbara Patterson Musical Instrument Bank. Anyone and everyone can bring their used instruments to the Arts Council, and then we fully pay to refurbish them, and we send them straight to the school system. So we send them to teachers and to the classes for free. It's no cost to them. We used to give them directly to the students. What we found is that they ended up then coming back to us in worse repair. So now we're giving them directly to the teacher. The school now owns that instrument. And most of the time that kid's gonna last from 6th grade all the way to 8th grade. Great, they can use that instrument. But the teacher has a little bit more say over it, and then the school, we're kind of building up their stock of instruments. We're just starting now the Linda Van Hart. It's the Heart for Arts Scholarship. So this is, I pause to think about the long game for the Arts Council. So as we're thinking about developing the Main Street, the community experience for Taneytown, and wanting to develop, also thinking of the long game of it. Linda Van Hart was a founding member of the Arts Council in 1969. She has been a board member. She has been one of our largest donors. She works at Common Ground on the Hill. And then she went off and did great things, but she keeps coming back. And so none of our staff currently, I don't know Linda personally, I've only known her through the Arts Council, and yet she has given a very large amount of money, I'll say, to the Arts Council as restricted funding for adult scholarships. And what is very nice about Linda is not only is her heart, of course, if an adult would like to take the class, great, they can have it for free. But also, she sees the need for accessibility. Do you need an ASL interpreter for that concert? Great, use this funding to get them there. Does that student need something a little different to take that class? Great. Make sure Arts Council I'm going to give you money to set yourself up to be able to say yes to anyone who calls and needs something, and be able to promote to everyone that our ears are open, our doors are open. We couldn't say, yes, art for everyone, and then someone says, hey, any chance you have that program in Spanish? And we go, no.
Right.
When we said everyone, we didn't mean everyone, you know? Like, you can't, it's a bold statement, art for everyone. And so with Linda's help, we're able to actually stand by that. Every age, every interest, and every ability can participate. So which is very exciting. So we're very, very grateful for that. And so when I say the long game of, this is year 50, let's see, we're in year 57 of the Arts Council's founding. We're about to celebrate our 60th in a few years. It's a long time, it took a long time to develop that, to get that backing. When I think about the Taneytown community, Taneytown business leaders, Taneytown Council, Taneytown government, and the public library, the county school buildings, there's a lot of moving pieces. And for us in Westminster as the Arts Council, we recognize one of our moving pieces that needed to be connected was our direct communication with the commissioners as a helpful funder of ours. And it's, as I said, and not hidden that we help fund the Carroll Community College's Westminster Symphony Orchestra. We help fund the Carroll County Public Libraries, some of their arts programs. And so the commissioners we are very thankful that they not only provided us funding this year, but we got a level increase in it. We've got to figure out a way to do something, to say thank you, to begin creating that better relationship. So this year at our 23rd annual members show, and I totally stole this from another county arts council, they said, why don't you hold a Commissioner's Choice Award? And I said, that is brilliant. And we did it. And it was great. And it, as a new person in leadership for the arts in Carroll County, it was a wonderful opportunity to begin that conversation with our commissioners, because it needs to happen. I'm trying to do my best to listen to Priority Carroll every Thursday on the youth. I recommend it. Listen to what's going on in the county, because I realized the Youth Homeless Bureau. Did you know November is now going to be Youth Homelessness Month? I didn't know that until I watched Priority Carroll. Well, now I want the Arts Council to be a drop-off spot for coats and things like that. Well, great, that's gonna breed conversation. What are the commissioners' priorities? I'm gonna find out so that the Arts Council is a part of the commissioners' priorities. Two things that most people don't want to put together or think to put together, and I want to make sure. So we held our inaugural Commissioners Awards, and so the easiest way to explain it, this is the little slice of the speech I gave at the member show reception. So I think I'm going to read it because it was a nice tie-in. It was I'm going to read it. The best way to predict the future is to create it. When we talk about thriving communities, we talk about infrastructure, we talk about heritage, technology, and a person's quality of life. The county's financial support and equal increase of this year's arts and cultural budget is an investment in that quality of life for every resident. The Arts Council is proud to be a partner and a steward of that investment. So please help me in thanking the commissioners, and of course everyone clap, in helping create a better future. To honor this investment, we have created the inaugural Commissioner's Choice Award, this opportunity for engagement and collaboration to celebrate the vibrant and robust talent that we have right here at home. Our commissioners took time this week to visit the exhibition and cast their vote for this special recognition. Thank you. We all clapped. The inaugural Commissioners Awards go to. It was a great opportunity to publicly, one, show our artists that we're doing the work for them. As the county's Arts Council, we're doing the work for them. So, thinking of Envision Taneytown, thinking of what you're able to show the community, we're doing the work. We are finding the solutions for collaboration. We are finding those ways to create a bond and create a shared opportunity. It was great that week's Priority Carol, both Commissioner Kyler, Commissioner Vigliotti said how great it was to visit the exhibit. Commissioner Vigliotti is going to have a piece in the exhibit next year for Members Show. And, right? Great, right? It not to think of it as, again, a transaction, but it was a step in the right direction. And a good, I hope, start of what we want to curate as a relationship. All right, so impact over transaction. Some hard numbers to prove to you why right now we're in the thick of trying to make that transition. Social media, Facebook posts, right? That's how we get information out to the community right now. And so you sit as a committee, you come up with a great program, you want to be able to put it out there, you've thought of the things, who are we trying to reach? For us, a weekly event post, come to see this movie, we have a concert, gets around 30 interactions, that's likes, comments, shares, and about 2,000 views. Okay, there's 180,000 people in Carroll County. Just a reminder. Our Action for Kindness post, where we were talking about a community collaboration piece, where we showed the faces of our staff that were interacting in art on Main Street, 92 interactions, 4 comments, 4 shares. Thanking our volunteers that they make an impact, that the Arts Council provides a way for you to make an impact in the community. We hold an annual volunteer celebration that most folks don't know. Multiple photos, showing faces that people will recognize, trying to strengthen that community. Oh my gosh, that's Gail. She's my neighbor, right? Oh, I always see her at my doctor's appointments, right? 114 interactions, 3 comments, 3 shares. Did you know the Carroll County Arts Council has a musical instrument bank? Hundreds of instruments are donated. 237 interactions, 16 comments, 23 shares. Now, I didn't say the views for any of these. The views for this went up to 15,000 views. So 300 interactions between, comments, shares, likes, posts, right? The difference between someone seeing an event that is transactional, like cool, we get people at our events. We wouldn't do them if we didn't. But when we're just promoting something for you, then it's only about you. But when you're able to promote something that is impacting not just you, but the community you're a part of instantly, and how the algorithm gets views, meaning that people stopped. When someone scrolls and they stopped and read this, it sent it to their community. And when that community started scrolling through Facebook and saw it, they stopped. Enough time for Facebook to say, oh, people are stopping to read this. We're going to send it to any of the communities that person who stopped looked at it for. So that's how you're growing. It doesn't take likes and things like that. Of course, that helped grow it as well. But it's a nice indication of growth and impact. So I've this up here, and just as a kind of wrap up, a little fun game here. Take a look. I can read them too, depending on how well, if you need to drop the glasses down. I can read through them quickly. But what I'm going to ask you is, if you can name one thing you had no idea the Arts Council did. All right, here we go. County Arts Development Grants, Arts and Education Grants, Mini Grants, Arts Accessibility, Independent Artist Grants, TEVIS Scholarships, Tom Holder Scholarships, Heart for Art Scholarships. We have the Film Lovers of Carroll County. We do a documentary series, a foreign film series, the Sprouts Adults with Disabilities film series, Black American film series, Oscar Short's Rocky Horror Picture Show, The Peep Show. No one better say it than you did. Festival of Breeze, Art in the Park. We do a headliner concert series, Schools Out, Arts In, together in the Arts Common Ground downtown, Memory Lane Playback Improv Theater. Scary Tale Evenings Week, free family movies throughout the year, Charlie Brown Jazz, Teelan Irish Dance, Playwright Festival. We host the Youth Art Month, a member show, Gallery of Gifts. We have our retail gift shop, and all of our galleries have receptions. We have volunteer opportunities. We rent our facility. We do school field trips, Scout badge certifications, online community calendar. We host an arts directory on our website, so if you need someone, you can be like, does anyone paint portraits? I don't know, let me go to the Arts Council into their arts directory. We archive all of our exhibits online. We have the musical instrument band, Trying Instrument Day. This year had 600 students at it. We have patron memberships, our Arts Alliance sponsorships. We do adult workshops, youth workshops, classes, and summer camps. Children's Theater, Make It, Take It, Teen Open Studio. We host the Common Ground on the Hill jam sessions once a month on the first Wednesdays. We do program brochures, flyers, social media on our marquee newsletter. And then we participate, I ran out of room. Westminster Wednesdays, first Wednesday of the month, we're at Beer and Barbecue, Flower and Jazz. Those sort of outside things. So, what did you have no idea about?
I've known Linda for a long time, but I did not know that she did the scholarship. And as much as she talks to me, I should have known about it.
That one's newer though.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'll be honest, I only knew maybe 10 things on the
Yeah,
list.
that's fine. Right. So the reason I bring it up, one, we need to be better about promoting the impact. But also, as a reminder, it took the Arts Council 60 years to get this list. And so thinking about how we're now just starting to stop and curate who wanted all this? Who is each of these things for? Who needs them? And what does the community need that we haven't stopped to realize should be on the list? And that's a big conversation we're having right now. That's my last slide, I guess. Questions about how we run, ideas for Taneytown, arts in general, anything that you thought this talk was going to be about that I didn't cover?
Well, I have, well, my name's Mary Reese, and I have,
Use the microphone, Mary.
Oh.
Can you
Oh,
hear
here,
her?
here. I'll bring it to you.
Right here's one.
Do you want here?
Microphone, yeah.
oh boy. Okay, my name's Mary Reese, and I have a small business here in downtown Taneytown. And my vision as an artist is, we're already this is Susan Cassidy. She is part of our 4-woman little
Art collective.
art collective. We're trying to bring some art to Taneytown. Don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. So we're gonna start with pop-ups around town. So what we're looking for are places, businesses where we can have these pop-ups. So people could come in and just enjoy art. We're not, if we sell it, great, but just exposing the public to different kinds of art. And how do I turn that into an impact? Because, I mean, I guess just exposing the community to art is an impact,
Yep.
right? But you keep mentioning impact, so I'm just kind of like.
Absolutely. I think it's seeing at the end of, maybe it's taking one step further of, once you do that pop-up, make sure you find out from your artists, how much money did they make? That's economic development, right? That's you being able to say, by us hosting one pop-up, we generated $6,000 for artists and art left there and populated in the community that would not have otherwise. Imagine whoever you need to talk to, a sponsor, someone to get a space, saying just the first one brought, it's all about data. The first pop-up brought, 39 people, but they spent $3,000. We were able to promote 4 local artists. Something that drives some of our patrons crazy, but it's great data, is zip codes. Peep Show alone, we have over 300 unique zip codes across the state, across the country that come. Now, we're very fortunate that it happens during Easter, so everyone's over to see their family, so we get that random person from Hawaii and Alaska, but I'm gonna take it. They got exposed to Carroll County art that they wouldn't have otherwise. So it's thinking in terms of, any idea you have, don't stop at the transaction part. How do you communicate it to become impact? Interview the artists that are gonna be there. What's the story behind the art they're doing? Use their faces, make sure the community sees them as a human. Here's their story. How did they get started into art? And then when those folks come in, let's say they don't buy anything, what are you doing as an arts business owner so that they leave knowing something else? Great, you didn't buy anything today? Well, we would love to have you at this. Did you know there's a thing at the library? Did you know? We'd love to see you. You know, this is future ways for you to grow. If you liked today, come back. Not even here, and that's the community part of it, is we've seen so much more interaction when it's not the Arts Council owns art in the county, but we are simply promoting art within the county. And I think that's been slowly very, very receptive. So
two questions, I think they're related. If I look at the program that you're doing that is county-centric or Westminster-centric, do you help places like Taneytown, rather than recreate the wheel with like an instrument programs, could you help us identify what would be unique to us?
Yeah.
And to reach out almost as a mentorship to say, along with what you're doing, how would you extend here in the way that a community college might open a branch of classes at Fairhaven, for example, for people that live there. So that's part of one.
Okay.
Second would be, in the beginning of the presentation, you really opened up the definition of art in a very big perspective about human creativity and participation and communication. Would it be possible to look at the restoration of Taneytown as a canvas?
Yeah.
And to identify every resident as an artist from this perspective of just creativity and inspiration? And could you help us put a program together that would redefine art from this town perspective and not a narrow fine arts perspective? Because a lot of the programming you're doing is still focused on a particular artistic expression.
We recognize that too.
So could you help us broaden this as a campaign so everybody is a shareholder in terms of both taking ownership with their unique contribution to the town, but from this perspective of everybody as an artist, and how can we create this blank canvas of Taneytown to some artistic project?
I'm going to start with two anecdotes. The first one, in 2010, Lancaster, PA had a small arts organization, and they said, wouldn't it be crazy if we put a bunch of pianos out in the streets of Lancaster? And the elected officials were like, that is ridiculous. They will get vandalized, they will get smashed, we do not want to deal with it. And the arts organization said, actually, we think it's going to build a little bit more community and civic mindedness and people taking care and having pride. And so they went ahead and did it. They put 20 pianos on the streets of Lancaster 24/7 for 4 months. Out of that time, they had one instance of vandalism, and everyone came back. All the elected officials said, my goodness, we have such a community growing. We have such civic-minded citizens. We wonder what we did to make this happen, right? That started in 2010, and they are still now putting pianos on the streets for people to be able to play them, because it involves all ages, anyone with interest, any ability has the ability to use it. They could just have, like I think of a lot of our municipalities, we could host a concert, or we could allow every citizen to be an artist. The difference between a great cultural transaction that everyone loves and promotes and thinks is a great idea, or find a way to have community connection through an impactful way. The second anecdote is just 3 years ago, the Arts Council teamed up with Taneytown, and we had the Taneytown Artisan Fest. I don't know if anyone remembers that. It ran for 2 years. This year, maybe last year, kind of blends together. It's been a busy year. We were like, okay, great. We've got to get the registration open. We've got some vendors. You know, art in the park. We have 70 some vendors, and so we were trying to create a mini art in the park for Taneytown, and asking the same vendors to come to this. And then we realized we only had 10. We had 10 vendors for Taneytown Artisan Fest. And my brand new marketing coordinator in her like first week there is like, okay, great. Let's do an impact estimate. What are we trying to get from it? Who are we asking? And I was like, I don't know. All the vendors that are at Art in the Park is a wine and fine art event. And we were when I thought of Taneytown Artisan Fest, I was like, we need it to be like an arts festival. We need kids throwing darts at balloons full of paint. We need Taneytown Dance Center doing stuff at the gazebo at Memorial Park. It needs to be a family-oriented event. And then we thought, this thing's in 2 weeks. We can't alter the fabric of what we were essentially trying to transplant the Westminster art in the park to Taneytown. And we said, I talked to the city and we said, I don't think it's gonna work. And they went, okay. And we canceled it. And I think it was the best decision, because we were trying to create something. We were trying to recreate something without asking anyone if that's what they wanted.
Right.
And so it's possible. The Arts Council wants to take what we've learned from Peep Show, Art in the Park. Like we try to help. If people call us up and how do you make Art in the Art in the Park, Festival Reads, Peep Show, try to take that formula and take it to Union Bridge. Let's take it to these folks. And we try to give them, here are the emails we send, here's the format we use, here's the resources, the software. Let us know how we can help. But essentially it's our team of 8 know the community of Taneytown far less than you who wants to put the event on. So yes, we can be a vital community resource, but ultimately the community that we want to help build is in the community's hands, and they're really the first place to start with.
Right.
Those 2 stories help answer your question a little bit?
Well, I'm thinking more from a mentorship perspective too, because we're sort
Yeah.
of starting at zero, and I'm not suggesting that you would know the needs of Taneytown, but in
Yeah.
terms of a larger plan from your expertise and from this conversation we're
Yeah.
having about expanding people's perception of art and encouraging this creativity to encourage ownership of the town because of these contributions people can make, like a plan around that in some way.
I think, as a big answer to your question, yes. I think the
Okay,
Arts
so that's
Council.
available from your.
I think
Okay.
not in any formal way, and we haven't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
done it before, but
Okay,
it's what we want to do.
Okay.
So
that's great.
I
That's
think we'd be very open to that.
I don't think we need to recreate the art wheel.
Mhm.
We have artisans in this town, in
Well,
this community.
absolutely. There's a lot.
And I think the biggest thing that the problem with this town right now is that it has a branding problem, okay?
Yes.
It's changed, okay? It's not the same as it was 20 years ago or 10 years ago. There's a lot of diversity here.
Mhm.
However, there's a lot of what has been here, and this is an Arts Council talk, so from an artisan standpoint, there are a lot of those folks here, okay? We don't have to recreate the wheel.
Right.
We have to give those folks an opportunity to help lead the way, because they already know. They are
Right.
part of that discussion of what do certain people in Taneytown want, what is a good place to start, okay? Putting fine art on Main Street is it's good, okay, it's definitely helpful, but from an economic development standpoint, it doesn't work entirely on its own.
Right.
All right, I speak from
Agreed.
experience. We put a wine bar on Main Street. It lasted 8 months.
Right.
Okay? Taneytown wasn't quite ready for that, okay? Because I wasn't listening to what Taneytown wanted. I said, hey, this is a great opportunity. This is what I want. This is what my friends want.
You're going, oh, why?
But it didn't work.
Now I'm thinking, where was
But
that?
but it didn't work, okay?
Right.
Because I had my own ideas as an entrepreneur, and I didn't listen to, well, it's not entirely true. I did listen to what we wanted to see happen, sort of trying to raise the tide, okay? But the town wasn't quite ready for it. The neighborhood wasn't
Right.
quite ready for it, okay? I don't regret it, but it was a lesson learned.
Right.
Okay, when we talk about art, okay, and culture, it is, I mean, this town, my God, this is one of the oldest towns in the state, okay? And we are constantly missing the opportunity to celebrate that in historical culture, our art culture, I mean, everything. We have so much. We have more than most towns, maybe outside of Annapolis, to share with this state and the community, but we haven't figured out a way to transition. We transitioned out of Mayberry because of just sheer attrition, okay? And we haven't figured out how we retain that small town feel and that sense, okay? And embrace the diversity and the growth, but also manage it in a better way so that everyone is growing in the right kind of way. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And the art is key because the culture and the history is intertwined, and that is the glue for this town. That's the glue.
Right. I mean, to have a healthier society, when you look at what do employers want the most, well, I need someone who's a good problem solver. That's creativity. I need someone who can jump in and act fast and come up with a solution and be creative. And I was actually saying before the meeting, the best place to start is with families and with your senior population, because it is easier to develop and engage arts programming for kids. You're getting the parents in. It can be easier to be free. And then once you get the kids in, it's all about seeing and then welcoming the parents in. That's a big push for us. Is we did one of those word bubbles for all the language out there in the ethos about the Arts Council, and the word we're using the most is like pay, buy, tickets here. Well, it's because it's just the natural language that was a part of our website. Actions. And we're like, oh, that does not build community. And so now we're trying to we're so excited you're here. Right? It's that idea of it's the party can start because you're here kind of idea. We've been waiting for you. We'd love to have you in. Did you know you're invited? We are so happy to welcome you to this. And I think that's what I feel is the citizens of Taneytown need a little bit more of is welcoming, something that is for them, that it's not someone else coming in, the Arts Council coming in and deciding, guess what, Taneytown citizens, you should come do art, Taneytown Artisan Fest. You're gonna love it. And we're like, what is this? I think the wine bar example is good. I would start with having a Taneytown artist meeting, and have a little phone tree of call up all your artists, who's on the list, welcome them in, and once you've solved we need to find out who are we reaching right now, who's actually engaging in, I guess for us as the Arts Council, who is engaging in activities in Taneytown, who are the faces you're always seeing. Okay, great, that's the baseline. who is it that we are actually trying to reach? Are you trying, do you want all of, Carnival to be at Carnival Avenue to be at this event? Is that the goal? And for what reason are you trying to get a certain population or a certain demographic there? The reasoning why is pretty important, because that's how you're going to find the community leaders to get into that group. So if you identify that there's a growing Spanish-speaking or Latino population here, I don't speak Spanish, so I'm not going to go and try to hustle in a community I don't know. I need to find who is a leader in that community who they trust and bring them in and say, look, this is really important for us. We would love to be able to engage. We want to be able, we have resources we want to provide. Can you tell us how can we do that? We decided to bring in for Latin Heritage Month a few years ago, we brought in a guitar player, international guitar player. And he sang all the songs in Spanish. We're like, oh my gosh, we're gonna get, the entire audience of a couple dozen people were all white English-speaking citizens of Westminster, because we didn't ask anyone, who would you like for us to have? And we didn't know who to ask. And so developing the relationships with who you actually want to engage with. So when you think of the citizens of Taneytown, who is it that you're actually thinking of? What for you, once an event has ended, is gonna make it, you're gonna stand there and go, that was successful, we got the right people here.
That's a tough question, because in my view, in the 5 years I've been here, I think that everybody in this town could benefit from it,
Absolutely,
okay?
but you can't get everyone for everything.
But when I
That's the
look
stuff.
at it from a business perspective, okay, we have a lot of new people, myself included, that have moved into the town, okay, that are not engaged
Right.
in anything going on in
Yeah.
town, and we haven't given them anything to be engaged in. And we're trying, but just from an economic standpoint, it's just one part of it, but just
Yeah.
collectively.
Yeah.
All right, Parks and Recreations does a fantastic job
I agree.
of, the festivals and the general, like 4th of July's and stuff. They're knocking it out of the park, so to speak,
yeah.
okay? But that's just one part of it,
Right.
okay? That's just those are the mainstays, maybe once a month or
Right.
every couple of months and big holidays and whatnot. What I'm talking about is having regular programming that I don't want to say that people can set their clock to, but
Yeah.
that's consistent enough
A
that it
universal
brings
buzz.
enough. It gives us, over the course of a year, it brings enough opportunities to kind of touch on the different diversities. Because I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
most people, you talk about like a bunch of just white people showing up at, a Spanish guitarist, okay? The diversity in Taneytown it's like United Nations. People don't really realize that, okay? But at the Carriage House this weekend, we are hosting a what do you call it, a concierge, the Spanish debutante kind of thing, and I didn't know what it was. But my wife is showing me the pictures of it, and she's like showing me the dress. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're local to Taneytown.
Yeah.
Okay. And my point is that we don't have to wait for the diversity.
Right.
It's here.
Agreed.
So what we need to figure out is how do we help nourish all of those different cultural interests to bring that community together. Not just, I love our history. That's why we bought our property. That's why we're in this
Right.
town. American history, I'm all over it, okay? But it's not for everyone,
Right.
okay? We're doing our part, okay? But we have a culturally diverse community now. It's certainly not the same demographic as it was even a decade ago. So moving forward, both in our economic development and what we're trying to do and offer on Main Street, along with the cultural development and the arts and whatnot, it has to somewhat be reflective of really how, if we want to bring the community in, like we have to be kind of all in on that. It can't just be just the things that we want or what we think we want.
No, absolutely. And I think I think the data is going to be key. It's finding out what is the average income for Taneytown. What is the...
It's pretty good.
So I guess but does it match who you want to engage with?
Maybe not.
Right?
Maybe
So it's coming up with free or low cost offerings that someone is able to attend, and it just takes time. You know, we talked about last month, you know, Taneytown has 140 going through it. You can't shut down 140 like you can in Sykesville, you know, or Main Street in Westminster. There's physical challenges with a Main Street parade or a festival or something that kind of rallies in a cultural way. But I think you have to kind of be careful and why you need a good slice of community for the brainstorming of it, because when I think of Frederick in a way, you have to build what Taneytown can offer. So you don't want to have a gentrified feel on your Main Street where everyone's able to walk through and buy the things, when that doesn't actually allow the entire community to do that. So thinking of setting the right bar for what Taneytown wants, what they can engage with, that isn't going to be comparable to anywhere else. Like you said, Taneytown is unique. It is, and so it's trying to find what's going to be right for here, which is probably going to look very different than Westminster. It's going to look different than Frederick, and that's okay. And I think people will like it better because now it is uniquely for them, which I think is.
So I'll throw a couple of things out for you. With the Taneytown Heritage Museum associated with the Taneytown History Museum, we are falling into, after a lot of work, having events during our open season, which is typically April through November, that we have something big going on each month. That's the goal.
Yeah.
That has a really good turnout. We're having some of those things happen. We're having good success with it. We're seeing our visitor numbers increase. So it does happen. We're also working with a lot of other organizations, a part of the America 250, which is all the historic locations in the county, and they bring people in from outside as well. So, you know, the collaboration does matter.
Yeah.
We did basically an emergency services day last spring that included Taneytown Police Department, the fire company, the EMS.
Yep.
And we had the best numbers we've ever had. So many people showed up that day. And what I was surprised by, because we know the police department has a booth at a lot of different things, their comment was it was the most they ever had at a booth.
Wow.
As well.
Wow.
So we helped them in that way, and same for the EMS folks. They were excited about it. So it's hard sometimes to look at the numbers. So I brought 2 books for homework for everybody. So I just read, coming back from Colorado, Revenge of the Tipping Point.
Okay.
And the original from 25 years ago, he wrote The Tipping Point. I'm halfway through that one. So I wanted to introduce those books as an idea for homework, that what Gladwell talks about is the tipping points aren't always what you think they are. So you have to look close. What does your statistics tell you? And that's what we've had to do at the museum as well, is figuring out how do we satisfy people, who is the right audience. But he talks about both sides of that. So the tipping point is about what are the tipping points and how do we not see that? Good and bad, because there's good tipping points and bad. And The Revenge of the Tipping Point is a book about how you also might cause the tipping point. You know, so how do we get those things to happen? So we have to think about that whole picture.
Right.
So I recommend it as good reading, because they'll make you start thinking a little bit different on some of the approaches that we have.
Well, I think what made me think of that is that this isn't a finite project. There's never going to be a time where you go, great,
Yeah.
Taneytown's Taneytown is now culturally advanced. You know, there's not going to be a moment where that happens. So it's
sure.
Continuous.
it is exactly. Yeah.
I got something up.
Yeah.
When you talk about the pianos, it made me think of, it's gonna sound totally different, but there's a reason. We have the Husky sculpture at the middle school.
Yes.
Okay, well, I was big involved with that project.
With Mark Walters.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, the thing I wanted to tell you about it, the not vandalism, the school was so worried that there'd be vandalism because most of you might not know this, but just the base that it's sitting on, the piece of black granite that came from Africa, cost $5,000. And our fundraiser was pennies for the pedestal. I couldn't get them to do bucks for the base. I tried. I mean, I took like $3,000 worth of pennies to the bank and had to have them. When I said I was bringing them in, because they said they do it, and you know, I came in, got in line, talked to somebody. I said I have the pennies for the pedestal. Oh, well, hand them over. And I said, oh, no, I need like a cart or something. My car is full of bags of pennies. But what I was going to tell you, they're so worried about vandalism. Well, we had, when we worked with, the whole school was involved. I don't know if you remember any of this, but we had the dogs. They drew dogs that had been in the Iditarod with Bart, and then they watched him on stage working. Every kid that wanted to got to put a little piece of clay on that sculpture before it was done in bronze. Well, when the kids that did that, when they were graduating from high school, one of the teachers had invited them back for a slideshow of pictures when they'd been in middle school. Mr. Rowley. Anyway, it was great.
Aaron?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So there was a group of boys going in, so these are seniors, and they were probably 10, 15 feet in front of me, and they stopped at that sculpture and they were just petting it almost and discussing where they put their piece of clay.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't wait to call Bart and tell him because he was so worried. And I said, if they're all involved, they're part of it. Like, you know, they're a part of that forever.
Yep.
So there was that big thing, because that was a lot of kids all year involved in that. And then how many of you remember when the art train came to Taneytown?
Oh yeah.
That was amazing. I mean, there is no art train anymore. I tried to get it started up a couple of years ago again, and I found out they stopped doing it. They don't do it anymore.
I remember that. And the NASA, remember when there's a space shuttle that came through? Do you remember that one? Yeah, on the railroad tracks. Mom took us to it. It was
Oh,
my
I
dad,
missed
by
that.
the way.
You know what?
I don't know, I was like 7 or 8.
He's like,
And we all
I'm
in the
outta
train,
here,
I mean,
man.
and it was,
I wouldn't wonder that. So the art train was all NASA art. It was all from the Space Museum.
yes, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, it probably was close at that time.
It was yeah, I remember that. That was amazing. As a kid, I thought it was amazing. Well, one, because we're walking onto a train, which is the best thing in the world for a kid. But then it was gorgeous art. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it was
was
wonderful.
like,
Well, I was
this
gonna
is.
say, there were so many art vendors, and it was such a huge big
was.
thing. We were new in town. We had only lived here like 6 months when that got started to get, it was coming that summer, I guess.
Mhm.
And I volunteered, I ended up being the first person to volunteer to be a volunteer. So Nancy McCormick made me in charge of volunteers for the art train. And I said, but I don't know anybody. She said, oh, you don't have to know anybody,
Best
because
friend of people.
I'll have them call you. She didn't have anybody call me, nobody volunteered. It was a big job, but it worked. We got people, yes. I had to come in between every shift, every day, and make sure everybody showed up, because you had to have volunteers on
Right.
every train. But it was huge.
It
We
was-
had tents set up everywhere, and vendors, and people came from all over.
And I think that
To
might,
Taneytown.
I mean, I think of the veterans, the Vietnam Memorial in New Windsor. It was packed. So I live in New Windsor. So we walked to it. My kids were like, "This is the craziest thing," but it was an opportunity. I mean, culturally based. It was an opportunity for the first time. I have a 4-year-old and about to be in 10 days 6-year-old, and it was the first time we could be like, "So this is like going to church. We're gonna go visit this statue," is like we're calling it, but it was an experience. I hope they remember it like me remembering the art train, but I think not having to generate it yourself, and what are those opportunities? Could, Taneytown host another sort of big event that doesn't have to be, again, built from scratch? What are those opportunities?
Right.
Yeah, man, I remember that.
It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
Well,
so I just wanted to add one more part of the story for the art train, because
Yeah.
we need to appreciate the people that put in the effort. And so one of the things that was interesting is all the people that were on the art train traveled from town to town to town.
For years.
They weren't home much. They traveled with
Well,
this
yeah,
thing.
right.
And
Makes
what we-
sense.
And we thought, well, you know, Susie's so involved with it, it's like, why don't we do, you know, have them over for barbecue? And there were tears,
Oh my
because these
gosh.
people had never been invited to somebody's home in all the time that they had been part of the art train.
That's
It's like,
amazing.
you know, show some gratitude for the people that put that effort.
Yeah, there was a
in.
lady on that train that had been riding the train for 11 years, and she said it was the first time she'd been invited to anybody's home in 11
oh my
years.
gosh.
And I didn't think it was a big deal. We were just like hamburgers and hot dogs, you know. And they were that day on Friday going, "You need to get home. We're all coming to your house for dinner. Hamburgers and hot dogs. Everything else is ready and we're good to go."
But I mean, it's community building. It's every person that comes that pop up, thank them for being here, and then ask them, what would you want to see here next time?
Right.
You know?
So
What
I
would-
just
what would
wanna
be
add,
interesting?
one of our long-range dreams, the four of us, is to find a big studio space. So there's lots of buildings here,
Mhm.
beautiful. So I live in Frederick, and I rent an art studio. And I gotta tell you, it's a community in itself.
Yes.
There's so much positive energy in this place. I've gone there 3 times this week just because I get so much out of it.
Right.
They have a common gallery, so these artists can contribute to the gallery and it's open every weekend.
Mhm.
They're gonna start doing classes. I could see classes happening here. Bring the children in, bring the seniors in.
Yep.
I agree. I think that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
But we need a space.
Yeah.
And we need it, you know, we can't afford a
Right.
reasonable amount. Right now, I have four women that want
Right.
this. I
Right.
could get more.
I'll turn you on to the the Maryland State Arts Council
Right.
has huge capital campaign grants right now.
Mhm.
No organization in Carroll County, we're one of the few counties that no one has even applied to Maryland State Arts Council for a capital campaign grant yet. And I go, great, and new in this job, that's the Arts Council. We are not
Okay.
doing a great job at communicating to our constituents. Did you know Maryland State Arts Council has a grant that you could apply for, that the city could apply for, that individual organizations can apply for? $30,000, you know, whatever it needs to be to renovate a building or, you know, something like that. And I think too, we're in a very tricky spot right now because National Endowment for the Arts funding has all but dried up. So that's now not trickling down. If anyone saw the news yesterday or today, Maryland has now reached $1.3 billion deficit of their budget. So what does that mean for Maryland State Arts Council? What is that gonna mean for our direct funding? I mean, purse strings are getting tighter and tighter, and yet all we're talking about is offer free events so that your family, right? And so it is, once you push the snowball and then it starts rolling, and the snowball is that data piece. It's, again, it's better to find 4 people with the data you can give that can give $10,000 each than nickel and diming the moms of Taneytown to pay $5 to come to a craft. Even though you might think, $5, any parent could walk up and do this fun craft. Nope, no. Find one person that can pay for the whole thing.
So how do I find big donors?
I'm serious.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, I start with, go big first. Talk to even folks that aren't in Taneytown. Talk to Fuchs. Talk to Evapco. Talk to Heisenberg, what's Lehigh now? What is it called? It's Lehigh. Heidelberg. It's Lehigh forever. And say, hey, do you have employees? I'm sure you have employees that live in Taneytown. Big places have cultural or, funds that...
Like Antrim. I
yeah.
would love to get to know them. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Could they host in their
a pop-up.
reception
Yeah, I wanna
space
go
in
beyond
con-
pop-ups,
you know.
I mean, where this is just the start, but
I think too, it's could you be the coordinator? Does town hall need artwork in its building?
Yeah.
Can you coordinate
Nobody's-
with local
Yeah,
artists to get art in that building? Does the library need artwork in their building? Do local businesses, could you knock on doors and say, hey, lawyer here in brick and mortar in Taneytown, I have a group of artists who would like to have artwork on display. Do you have a hallway? Do you have a space that we can display it? That your customers can have a little piece of Taneytown art? Then their clients are gonna come in and be like, Joe, what's this new thing? Like, oh, some lady I don't know gave me some art. Well, cool. And then if your brochures are there, and it just talking about buzz, if a mom and her kids are going to the dentist and now there's new stuff in there, like, oh my gosh, someone's taking care of the town a little bit more, right? Once you see it in the unexpected ways, in the little detail ways, people are gonna be like, I'm feeling better. There's art here, there's art there. Oh my gosh, there's an event we could go to. This is art's in Taneytown now. All right, I guess art's in Taneytown now. Great. Yeah, I think they're doing a mural where the kids can put a handprint on the wall. Yeah, we'll walk down. Cool. I saw a flyer for it at my dentist because you went in and put artwork in. So it's sort of the grunt work of boots on the ground networking part of it. That dentist would be a great sponsor. Go back to him in 6 months. Hey, did you like the piece? We can switch it out. And they might be like, oh my gosh, we've had so many comments on that. Well, we have a great opportunity. We do pop-ups here. A sponsorship of $1,000 would go a long way. Your name would be on it. You know, all of that. Yeah, sure. So the folks that have money want to give it away most of the time in philanthropic ways. And if you thank them, and you invite them over, hey, every year we're gonna do a little sponsor get together, some free wine and cheese, all the folks that supported Deja Vu this year, come in, we're doing a little reception. You know, that gratitude goes a long way, send them a Christmas card every year. I mean, it's a lot, arts communications is a full-time job because it takes a committee of people that are gonna constantly do that networking. So it takes Envision Taneytown and dedicated volunteers that are gonna be like, okay, great, who did we ask? We gotta get someone to send the thank yous out. Are we doing the party? Yeah, we're doing the party. Who's gonna plan it? Yeah.
So I'm just asking everyone here, if you know any artists locally or in the area, please
Send them your way.
Send them my way. I don't know anybody here, I don't live here. But
I'll mention, so I'm part of the Carroll County Art Studio Tour, which is the 6th and 7th of December. It's the first full weekend of each December, and I've been on that.
It is coming up.
I don't know, 7, 8 years, it's been a while. We're hitting our 41st year as a group. But if you've got a foothold in Carroll County, then you could apply and be part of that too.
okay.
And my shop's open as part of that, and we'll have 150, 170 people come through over that weekend.
Okay.
So it's fun to do that, but.
That's what I'm talking about. We don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You already got, the people are here.
Okay.
And what we need to do is make them feel comfortable enough to engage. Now,
Making them
Doug's a
feel comfortable enough.
Doug's a little more than the average engager, okay? But there are a lot of people out there, I mean, he's like community oriented, like
Yeah.
to the hilt, okay? Which is great. But there's a lot of people that have his experience that are like in the shadows. And it's
Right.
just, and this is the biggest thing with this town, is that we have to create that environment that makes people who are new here, but who are from here, feel comfortable to come together. And we haven't quite
Yeah.
found that balance yet.
I think it's
And art can do it.
art can
Art
definitely
can do it, but
I
it has to
agree.
be, in my opinion, it has to be organic. It can't be forced.
right.
Okay, it has, and I think once it's seen as genuine, all right, then it spreads like wildfire. Then you get
Yeah.
the fine artists, you get the galleries, you get the wood turners, you get the leather workers, you get them all. But you got to create that safe space,
Yeah.
and we haven't done that yet.
You gotta figure out what the invite is. It's an invite.
It is an invitation. It is. and it's going to folks. It is going to Kenny's and saying, hey, Kenny's, you are a community business. We would like to partner with you to bring this arts, whatever you've come up with, to your constituents. We see you as a leader in the community with the people we want to reach. Can you partner with us to provide information? What would it take for us to have a little flyer go into each bag that gets stuffed?
Right.
It's going to leaders in the community, getting buy-in from them, because without them, you're not going to be able to knock on every door in Taneytown and do it on an individual basis. And so you all don't know every person, so you have to go to the person that a community member trusts first. And if you've gotten that one person's buy-in, you will get the buy-in of everyone that trusts that person. And so it's coming up with the plan. Hey, this is the vision. We kind of, over the next 5 years, we want X, Y, and Z. We want art buzz in Taneytown, and we think we can reach it this way. How can you help us out? Do you want that too? How, I know it's
I'll tell you how close we are from a symbolism, but kind of where we're at in this town with the arts, okay, is the owner of the Opera House. He's a young boy, all right? He owns the building through his father. And he's young. He cuts grass, okay? He's 20-something. But he's so interested in what he has, all right, the Opera House, that he understands that he needs to start asking the questions about how do I take this 1980s facade off of this building, if I can, to expose what that is. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
I mean, we're there.
Yeah.
We just have to figure out a very, I don't want to say nice way, because it's hard to do nice things in this town sometimes, a very collective way to get us all there. Because from the youngest generation to the oldest generations in this town, we all want the same thing.
Right.
But we haven't figured out how to get there together, and that's what we need. That's where we're at right now. But art can do it. The music, the visual, the theater, all of it.
Well, I think,
I'm putting a lot on you, Steve. I'm sorry, man.
What I love, two things. We had a lady, well, kind of ties in the same thing. We worked with the Historical Society and the League of Women Voters, and of course the Arts Council, and we did a production called The Evening with Mary Shellman. And Mary Shellman was a part of the for Women movement. She's a very big person in Westminster and for Carroll County. And the Mary Shellman House, it was being opened for the Historical Society, so we got a reenactor to come and read her letters and sing the songs she wrote about Carroll County and Westminster. She founded the Boy Scout troop. But what we realized was, like, standing in the lobby of the Arts Council, it was an almost sold out event. It was free. And the Historical Society, we had just come off of doing our brand audit, and we knew, great, apparently these are all of the folks we reach. We kind of knew who our audience was. And then we went, holy cow, the Historical Society has the same audience. Holy cow, the League of Women Voters has the same audience. And how we knew it was when the event was over, the lobby is filled with people just being like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here. Oh, you see the people you know when you go to the Arts Center. I was like, someone tattoo that. I was like, I was like, that was it. That's what we wanted. And it is creating that. It's getting who has similar audiences, and your job is not necessarily, of course, it's not look at Envision Taneytown, we did this art thing. It's the arts are important. You guys, did you know you should all be working together? Here's an idea about art, go art. You guys have the same audience. We have some cool ideas to engage your community here they are, go in art. And then suddenly you get enough of them together, and that person knows this person, great, now they're a bigger clump, and in 5 years' time, you just have a big old clump of art happening.
And that's the stickiness in your connection.
It's exactly what it is.
But, you know,
Yep.
one of the things too, you know, when I talked about the museum, that we're finding the events that we
Mhm.
can put on that draw a lot of people. What's cool too is we're seeing people, and I always push for food. Because if you
Absolutely.
got food, you get people. But the other thing is have tables and chairs out with some cover that
Mhm.
people could just sit and hang around and talk. And we're getting it more and more. Our garage is the old Hudson dealer. So
Mhm.
we do Hudson Day. We got Hudson collectors that just sit around and talk all day long. We buy them lunch to keep them there even longer. you
Yeah.
know?
People want to get off the phone
Yeah.
and just have a place to be.
Mhm.
Children, anything that's helping the youth, anything that's helping animals, and anything that's helping veterans and first responders.
Mhm.
You need all of them on your side, and those are the communities that those are what people care about, right? It is. And so thinking of, okay, great. How do we what's a big political something that's on the minds of people in Taneytown? Take us, I don't know, whatever it is. Great. Can you host an exhibit that is like the Art Center is about to do it. We're about to have an exhibit that is it's called Revolution. And it is an exhibit of local artists and their interpretation of revolution. What it means to them. We are bringing in the Historical Society has a traveling exhibit that is traveling all over Carroll County. So we're setting that in the middle of the room and filling the walls with just people's interpretation of what revolution can mean. It's non-juried. What comes in is getting hung on the wall. So it's the idea of how can, once you've made those connections with the community and you notice that Kenny's needs a big mural on it, and you think strategically, we have a conversation, we go, don't try to paint a mural, get a vinyl for it, like how to be a business, and as an artist, be a business person, right? Paint it on a piece of plywood, or that you can remove and take off, tell them it's non-permanent, it can change every year, they can have ownership of it, they have blah, 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 they have final say in what the art is. So the business aspect of getting art in place, lost my train of thought because I got so excited about putting a mural in Kenny's.
So we're talking about revolution?
Right, thank you. But then you find that lawyer,
Sorry,
you find the lawyer who has a brick and mortar space, who has a sitting area, and you're like, this is a perfect mini gallery. Hey,
Right.
do you mind if we as an organization reach out to Taneytown artists? What's something you care about? Well, housing's a really big thing.
Mhm.
Great. We would love to put on a mini show in your space that represents the current artists of Taneytown's ethos of housing. What are the problems? Build a piece out of historical materials. Then that person, that leader, is now not only a leader in their space, but in the arts world. People are attending it. They're it grows from there. So
That's a great
trying to
idea.
find what do people care about, and then just say, right, that's great fodder for
Yeah, so maybe
creating art.
Envision Taneytown creates the public art interpretation of each person's individual vision of Taneytown. Like, how do we see it? How do you
Right.
see Taneytown? What do you, what
Taneytown
would
through
you
the
like?
decades,
What would you like
you
it
know?
to look like? I think that's a great thing, man. We could go the revolutionary route too, but like what he's talking about, I could totally see, like, if we're talking about a rebrand, a Phoenix moment for this town, we really need to meet people where they're at and how do they feel? How do they currently view this town? And there's your first data point.
When you got to think about too, beyond fine arts, porch concerts, great. Would Main Street be willing? You can't shut Main Street down, but could each shop that has a little nook nook in there, put a band in every one of those. Are there enough musicians that could do a streetscape walk where nothing's shut down? But they're called porch concerts. You get enough porches around the town, you get enough bands that volunteer their time to play, then you're getting exposure for the bands, you're getting exposure for the brick and mortar businesses, the artists, people are being able to just walk their neighborhoods and get free music and hang out if they want to. They're going to go to local establishments for the restaurants, for the food, and then that's the thing though, is Envision Taneytown has to take ownership of what does that mean for economic development. What does that mean? Do you know, in order to do that, do you know the restaurant's owners well enough that you can partner with them and say, hey, we're just curious, what's your average Saturday and what was your Saturday the day we did the porch concert? It's the impact part is taking the extra step. Not just, great, we're doing a day of concerts and people go, okay, great, right? But being able to go to the mayor and say, we held this event and sales across Main Street boosted by 35%. We had engagement here that we wouldn't have otherwise, we had this otherwise. So it's kind of thinking outside the box, not just in galleries, but where can you have musicians, where can you have, it costs nothing to have a chalk, great, chalk up Taneytown, and you have everyone gets a parking space at Memorial Park. Great, and you're gonna ask the town council to judge it. It's free. Envision Taneytown supplies the chalk. You show up, you're given a parking spot, and there you go. What does Taneytown mean to you? And at 2:00, the mayor's gonna walk by and give out 3 prizes, something like that. Do it on a day there's already soccer practice, or do it on a day that the park's already full, right? And it eliminates the parking spots, but you know what I mean, right? Block off, oh no, your pickleballers are gonna be super mad, so you can't do that. I can't use the tennis courts. No, you will get whacked by the pickleballers. But chalk on Main Street, super easy. That's a good thing on those days that school's closed. Great, you got kids that need to get out of the house. So great, take them over to wherever.
You
Yeah.
know what we tried for years, this was a long time ago, tried to get Taneytown to do, like, Annapolis does it, Frederick does it, like First Friday or Third Thursday.
Yep, absolutely.
And there's a balloon out at each business that has
Yep.
something special, so you can
Yep.
look down the street and go, oh, there's like 4 events going on that
Yeah.
street, or
Yep.
there's,
And I think
they're
too,
awesome events, they have food in places
Mhm.
and.
a big chalk event, you don't need, to my understanding, especially if you talk to a private business that would allow you to use their parking lot, you don't need a permit for that, you're just,
Hey, the old Kenny's lot is like empty.
I mean, you could just have a impromptu art gathering. There's, as long as it all depends on how much engagement you want to have. Is it a welcome, hey, we would love to have this, and we want X, Y, and Z to be a part of it, or not, or we're just gonna do it. And we're just gonna start arting it up.
Well, let's make yours the last one.
I know,
I want to respect people's time, so.
Yeah.
I know it's
Yeah, so this is kind of a fun, creative idea,
Uh-huh.
and because of your connection with the dance studio,
Mm-hmm.
do you think there's a way that we could get Kim's students to do some of their moves during some of our events to show off their skills and some dance?
I'm
I don't
sure,
know how
I'm
to
sure of
bring
it.
that to fruition, but there's a golden opportunity right there for her students and her parents to show off their children.
Honestly, my best recommendation, just call her up and ask her.
Yep.
I mean, really, I mean,
She does.
and I'm not speaking,
About it.
and honestly, not just because I know Kim is fantastic and would want to partner, but I could probably say anyone you call up, anyone, any business, if you call them up and like, look, we're looking to engage. Well, what should you do for us? I don't know. In my experience, an invitation to participate is rarely turned down.
Right.
Money, we don't have it. We're out of the fiscal year. Oh, we haven't budgeted yet. Oh, whatever. You know, blah 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 blah. Money's always tough. Money's never the first ask, right? And that's what's going to take time. Money
You just
can't.
have to ask.
But participation,
But
great.
participation is also an advertisement for her business.
Correct.
Exactly right.
So I have a real quick example for this pop-up on December sixth. I have a friend who's a baker. She's gonna come with her bread.
Yeah.
And promote herself and sell, she's selling sourdough. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well why not?
Right. Well, I mean, great example. I took my kids to dance on Saturday, and what did I do? I walked into your shop and said, "Can I put brochures for the Arts Council in
I
your?"
was like, what?
What? I mean,
I was
you-
like, oh my God.
right? And then I went to, well, Rust hadn't opened yet, and then I went to the, oh my gosh, the Wreaths, or the old Chinese restaurant.
Burlap door.
Burlap, right? I was like, "Hi, it's nice to meet you. I have brochures. You have wreaths. We have Festival of Wreaths. Hi, my name is Stephen." Like that was the order probably that I said it, and she was like, "Great. Who are you? This sounds awesome. Shoot me an email." That's it. You just gotta do it.
That's it, you know. And for your guys' fine art gig, you know, I think you guys ought to go talk to the BAPCO because, you know, they're the biggest player and they have been, and just not to get into too much of the bad history, but, you know, they don't participate as much as they used to because they've sort of just disengaged, okay?
Right.
But I think they have a lot going on. They're doing very well, okay? And until Bob has been in the job long enough for them to warm up to him, all right, maybe that would be a nice invitation. Maybe that would be a nice step in for them. You know what I mean? Because they're very leery, not of Bob, but they're leery of town.
There's
Okay.
a lot of underlying stuff that's
But the
going
thing
on.
of it is that they want to participate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think their big thing is that they just haven't. They're not sure that there's people on the level for them to
Yes.
deal with yet, even though those people are here.
I
They
think
just haven't been
too,
shown that yet.
The going all the way back to the STEM and STEAM aspect of it, I look at, I mean, my whole teaching career has been stagecraft, civil engineering, and the trying to get my theater kids to learn power tools because they are connected, and telling my engineering kids, you've got to draw a picture that's not a building. Thinking of someone like Tawny Stair, the craftsmanship of what they're doing, and the tradition of hard work, and the artistry and the creativity that's going into and honoring that. And I think that invitation is also important. We're a group that recognizes what you're doing is pretty darn cool, you know, and we would love to partner with you so that more people in Taneytown know that what you're doing is worth time. You know, here are some ideas to let you be present. In return, could we put a couple flyers out, or could you send this invitation to all your employees? We have a great free event coming. If you got any young kids, we're doing a pumpkin painting night, blah, 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 you know. And there you go. That's your person. So.
And so I think it's one thing I always notice from these meetings often is that what he's presenting happens here tonight in terms of the excitement that gets generated, meeting new people and the ideas that get put out. And this is an example of part of the process. So just make sure for a few minutes afterwards, if there's someone you want to make contact with specifically, if you're not on our email list, that you'll be notified of other events. And as I said before, if you have ideas for either you want to do a presentation here on one of these things each month, please let me know to just keep building on this. I want to thank Stephen. It's just great to, again, start this conversation with his expertise, and so I just hope we can continue that and keep growing together. So thank you all for coming.
Nice job,
Thank you
Stephen.
all.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you guys.